Good evening, all. So let's start. So we are here for how to bring in efficiency into your SAP, which is already implemented. So I have with me Rajendra Borkar, we call as a RB. So who is our technical director, who will take some gives inputs and the insights about the efficiency into existing SAP. So RB sir, good evening.
Hi Sachin. Am I audible? I'm just put my video on. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. So just to introduce myself, my name is Rajendra Borkar. As Sachin said, everybody calls me RB here, and I have around more than 30 years of experience. Out of those 30 years, I've spent around more than 20 years into SAP implementations, helping companies to, get the benefits out of SAP, which is the best ERP in the market today. So this is as far as my brief introduction is concerned. So I'll tell you about this particular session, how that is structured. So initial around 35 to 40 minutes we will be spending on the slides. I will be explaining the important key factors, which are contributing to the success of SAP implementation. That is one part. Second would be the 20 minutes or an hour. Probably we will spend listening to you about your observations, your experiences, and if at all any questions you have, probably we will try to answer those questions. So this is how it is going to be. Okay. So with this, let us get on to the presentation. The topic for today is how to bring efficiency into your SAP. So SAP implementation is, considered to be the most important aspect of any company, because there are certain objectives, and those objectives needs to be achieved as far as the SAP implementation is concerned. So let us look at the agenda today. During this particular session, what we will be doing is to understand key factors, which are contributing to the success of your SAP implementation. So after knowing those factors, we will go through into the more details and understand the importance of each contributing factor, and by using those factors, and how to maximize the outcome and results by following best implementation practices. So this is what the high level agenda today we have. There are around 10 slides, subsequent slides, and we will be discussing how these factors are, helping us to reach to that particular level where we get the best of the benefits out of SAP. Okay, so are you all with me? And so let us start with the actual presentation. I'm going to the next slide. Okay, so as far as this SAP implementation is concerned, so what happens when SAP is implemented? So there is a distinct and profound impact that happens on business operations, basically. So that is the fundamental thing that happens when there is a SAP implementation. Okay. And then there are certain objectives, during SAP implementation, we need to achieve these objectives. So there are multiple objectives, people set for the SAP implementation, depending upon the nature of business and the products they are, selling into the market, they are manufacturing those products. So depending on these two factors, there are different objectives, but there are three, or there are more than three, but three major objectives which are in front of the people who are implementing SAP are these three. That is streamlining of end-to-end business processes. Second is enhancing productivity and driving growth. So let us talk about this for a couple of minutes. What do you mean by streamlining of end-to-end business processes? So basically, the business processes are looked from the end-to-end perspective, basically. So let us take example of, say, purchasing process, which is everybody must be aware of, and because purchasing is a very important function in any company. So in purchasing, what happens is, if you are using MRP, there would be a sales order, then there would be a sales forecast, and after running the MRP, there would be a recommendations given by the SAP. Then there is a PR that will be created. For that PR, there would be, request for quotations are sent. You receive those, quotations from your vendor, and then there would be a vendor analysis that needs to be done. And after that, you select the best vendor and create a purchase order. Then there is a material receipt. So we call that as a goods receipt. Then there is an invoice verification and a payment to the vendor. So this is what the entire procurement process, and this needs to be configured into SAP as end-to-end process. So there should not be kind of a white space. There are certain processes are out of SAP, and so that is what the streamlining is. The another thing is to eliminate the unwanted operations, unwanted tasks which are not adding any value to the business process. So those needs to be removed. So this is what the streamlining is, okay, and get the maximum productivity. Okay, enhancing productivity is one particular aspect, which is again important. The enhancing productivity by increasing the output, and enhancing the productivity by improving the quality also. So this is what the another objective every company has. And by doing this, there is a growth that company wants to achieve. So what does that mean? I mean, growth is there should be improvement in your top line. The revenue of the company that needs to be increased. There should be reduction in the cost. There should be increase in the profitability. Okay, that there should be improvement in the overall processes. Then if you this can be considered as the growth of the company, or there should be addition of new products into your portfolio. So these are the things which probably every company needs to achieve after doing SAP implementation. So these are the basic objectives. And then for this achieving these objectives, what we need is we need to follow certain processes which are the best practices as far as SAP implementation is concerned. Then there are certain key performance indicators. Those needs to be assessed, over at every interval. So these are the things probably we need to discuss in detail, so that how you can help in achieving the objectives of the company which are set for any SAP implementation. Okay. So with this, I'm going to the next slide. Okay, so these are the factors we think are the most important factors which needs to be followed in order to measure success of your implementation. The first one, if you see, is the management buy-in. So management buy-in is the blessings, I mean, management should be always giving you the blessings, as far as the SAP implementation is concerned. So the management should be involved from the step one into the implementation. So management is not something different. So they are always part of the project and they are one of the stakeholders. The second factor is the project organization. So every company, the company which is implementing SAP should have a project organization. There should be a project manager, there should be module leads, there should be process experts, and there should be a clear responsibility and the accountability of those people, holding certain positions in that particular project organizations to take care. Third one is the key performance indicators. So there are certain indicators. We will go through more details in the subsequent slides. So those needs to be assessed at a regular interval and see that whether there is an improvement, and that will indicate basically the success. Okay. Next one is the implementation reviews, which are most important. Those reviews will, first of all, I mean, who should attend this implementation reviews? So there should be people who are the stakeholders from the company side. There should be the stakeholders from the partner side. Okay. Then there should be management also should be part of these project reviews. And what should be presented in those reviews? Basically what is the what has been achieved, over after the project has started. And suppose you decide to have this project implementation reviews every month, then in the first month review, what has been achieved in the first month, that needs to be presented and that should be discussed. So this should happen on a regular basis. The next point is the seamless integration of SAP with other systems and data flow. That is a data transfer between SAP and these systems, that is happening. Next factor is the compliance and security. So there are multiple statutory requirements or compliances that needs to be catered to. There are multiple audits going on in companies. So SAP should support those audits. So that is what the meaning of this particular factor. The change management again is an important factor, where the management's involvement is the key. So change management is the assessment of impact that is happening, or that is the employees of the company or the users of SAP, they will need to face those particular impacts. So we will discuss about it in more details. Then system scalability. The system should be scalable enough to take care of your changing requirements or changing environments and the growth. Basically, as the company is growing, SAP should be able to support that particular growth. Okay, so these are the major important key factors which are very important from the success of SAP perspective. Okay, so with this, I'm going to the next slide and we will talk about these factors in more details. So first factor is management buy-in. So remember, any SAP project has to be driven from the top. As I said earlier, there should be a blessings from management. Management should be involved from the day one on the implementation. As a starting point, management should be explaining what are the objectives of this particular project, what we are trying to achieve, how the company will be benefited because of this particular implementation. So that will give a lot of confidence to all the employees, about the change which is being introduced. Okay. So that is what, I mean, if the SAP projects are driven from the top, there is most likely the situation that the SAP implementation will be successful. There should be a continuous guidance to the project team by management, and how that can be achieved is the project team should organize regular status update reviews with the management. And what is to be discussed in these particular reviews is when there is a conflict or there are issues or a risk which project team is not able to handle, those needs to be discussed in those project management reviews. And the mitigation plan, you understand the mitigation plan, right? Every conflict or issue or risk that needs to be addressed by certain mitigation. Mitigation is how to overcome the particular risk or particular conflict. So the project team should be able to present those mitigation plans, and there should be a decision coming from the management, how to take care of these key risks or key issues or key conflicts. The next one is the management also involved into change management, as I talked about it earlier. So change management is where we discuss the impact on the user community. The earlier they are doing certain operations in a way which they are used to, and after SAP is implemented, there would be a drastic change as far as the users are doing the transaction. So that should be addressed by the change management. Okay. So the project organization. So if you see the partner company, the company or partners who are helping you on this particular project for implementing the SAP, so they have the project organization. There is a project manager working with you. There are senior consultants. There are junior consultants. Then there are technical consultants. The entire team is working with you to implement SAP. So they work with you during blueprinting, or they work with you during user acceptance testing to map these people, from the partner organization. The companies who are implementing SAP, they also should have a project organization. There has to be a single point of contact. He or she could be the project manager, constantly interacting with the project manager of partner organization. There should be process owners, there should be module leads from the companies, and so there should be an active involvement of these people onto the project. They should be available with the project team to work on the project, during the phases like blueprinting, which is most important phase in the whole implementation, I would say, where the requirements are discussed. There are as is put onto the paper that is documented. Then there would be to be that would be discussed with the partner teams. So if they are available for those particular discussions, the processes will get more and more streamlined and matured, at the time of implementation. And if the project organization is in place, then there would be a quick resolution of issues, and there would be a faster decision making. There would be less and less issues which you need to take to the management, for the resolution. So this is the importance of project organization. I'm going to the next slide. Okay. So it is essential to establish and have the measurable objectives in terms of key performance indicators. Now, what are those key performance indicators? So first one is the ROI calculation. When we go out for buying something, you want to buy, say, car. So what we think about it, first of all, is there a value for money? whatever money you are spending to buy the car, whether that value you are getting. So that is the first question we ask to ourselves. And that value exactly is the ROI. Okay. In terms of SAP implementation, how do we calculate the ROI? So first of all, you have to add all the costs which are getting incurred on any SAP implementation, and that needs to be compared with the benefits and the returns you are getting in terms of savings. So if you divide savings with the total cost that has been incurred, that will give you a ratio. And that if as the ratio is bigger, your ROI is bigger. And when ROI is bigger, your SAP implementation is said to be the successful. Okay, so this needs to be continuously monitored, continuously calculated over every, say, on the monthly basis or quarterly basis, depending upon the what is the duration of total duration of the project. Okay. Next one is the user acceptance and satisfaction. So user acceptance is again most important part. So if there is a higher acceptance of the users and there is a positive feedback you are getting, that will indicate this is a successful implementation. So normally many companies, they do survey, they take survey. So there are certain questions put onto the communication which can be sent by email or just by paper, circulating a paper. And they have to specify what they think about this SAP implementation. On that basis, you can also, you can assess what is the acceptance level and what is the satisfaction of the users. So this is again a most important KPI in SAP implementations. That is user adoption of SAP. Okay. Then process efficiency. The process efficiency is what is the time taken to run a particular transaction in a particular, say, rather number of transactions can be carried out in a particular time frame. If that is increasing, then probably we can say that the process is efficient. So that is how this KPIs should be calculated. Then there should be a data accuracy and integrity. Data accuracy is so there are a lot of data gets created during when you create a initial stage, when there is an implementation going on. You work with your partner team to upload master data into the system. So the master data which you prepare to upload into SAP, that has to be accurate. There should be an integrity. Integrity is the amount of errors in the degree of error in those data files. So that should be as minimum as possible. It should be 10 to 0 actually. So it should be very, very accurate as far as the data accuracy is concerned. Then when you go live, additional master data gets created, or there is the transaction data gets created when you do certain transactions. So the SAP configuration it should be in such a way that there should be less number of errors people can create. For example, suppose there is an item master, then you can have certain fields mandatory, so that there has to be some information as far as that particular field is concerned, because that field is so important. It is used in many transactions and that is used in your reporting purpose. Then as far as possible, there should be a drop downs provided for that particular field rather than putting text. So there are different things, should be thought about when SAP is configured. Then next one is the reporting requirement. So SAP has got multiple reports. One is, there are certain standard reports for each and every module, for mostly every process. Then, and you can also define your own custom reports. So by using the standard reports and custom reports, if your reporting requirements are completely taken care of, then that SAP implementation is, I mean, that indicates the implementation is successful. Okay, but you have to take one more care at that when you are configuring the system, that the data which is required for reports, or for you that data is so important that management use that data for a multiple purpose, then that data needs to be captured at the time of transaction. If that care is not taken, because the data itself is not there in the system, I mean, how can you report it? So all those things should be thought about when the system is configured. When there is a blueprinting that happens, you are working with your partner team to make them understand what is your process. Okay, next is the system performance, is another key performance indicator. So what is how system response time is, for a particular transaction. So you have to identify which are the complex transactions and which are the complex reports you have, and what is the time taken for the for the response that SAP provides you after you run a particular transaction. If that response time is at an optimum level, we can say that the SAP implementation is successful. Then there are downtime. There are planned downtime or unplanned downtime. Planned downtime is for applying newer versions or patches, or so those are considered to be the planned downtime. But there are unplanned also, because of some issues. So this downtime should be as minimum as possible, and your uptime, where system availability is calculated, that should be at the highest level. Normally, more than 99% uptime is considered to be the best in the industry. And then if you have that kind of uptime for your SAP, the SAP is considered to be the successful, that is a successful implementation. So these are the KPIs, and the results for these KPIs should be derived or calculated on a regular interval, and those needs to be assessed, and we should see that there is always an improvement that is happening as far as this KPI is concerned. KPIs are concerned. Okay, so with this, I'm going to the next slide. Sorry about it. So next one is the implementation reviews. And implementation reviews is basically a project controlling process. Okay. What happens in implementation reviews is we need to, first of all, who should be part of this particular reviews? This reviews should be attended by, as I said earlier, the management is the first and foremost. Then there should be the important key stakeholders from the partner company, with whom you are working with, as far as the SAP implementation is concerned. There are the stakeholders from your side. Okay. Then all those people should come together and discuss what has been achieved as far as that particular day is concerned, or date is concerned, or period is concerned. So that completion of project deliverables as per the scope, whether that the scope that has been defined in the beginning of the project, whether the project deliverables are achieved or not. So that is plan versus actual. Why I'm saying is the project control process, because there you are assessing what was my plan, and against that plan what has been achieved. Then KPI assessment, the KPIs we discussed in the previous slide, what is the outcome of against that each KPI, that needs to be discussed. Then achievement of project objectives and goals. So in the first slide, we talked about the objectives, we talked about the goals, whether achievement of those objectives or goals, are we reaching towards those goals? Are we reaching towards those objectives? Then there is a project budget versus cost. So project budget is normally not at a, normally it should be, at various levels. Say, for example, there could be for you, the resource cost, or there should be, say, software cost, or, implementation cost. So the project budget needs to be categorized into all these, subcategories. And against that, you need to monitor the budget. So against the budget, you need to see what is the cost getting incurred, and whether the whole budget expenditure is under control or not. So that is one most important part that needs to be discussed during this implementation reviews. I'm saying again and again, implementation, but this is also important from support perspective. Any project which is currently into support, for them also, all these KPIs and all these all these reviews are equally important. Okay, next one is the adherence to the project timelines. So when we initially start the project, so there is a project plan that is prepared, and in that project plan there are certain milestones, then there are activities, there's tasks, there are subtasks. Against that, there is a project, the start date and end date, and actual start and actual end. So you have always do the comparison whether you have achieved that particular milestone or completed that particular activity within the timelines given or within the timelines earlier planned. So this is also important from the project control perspective, and that needs to be discussed during the implementation reviews, because all are there and they will have their feedback on what's exactly happening in the project and how to bring back into the control. So that is what needs to be discussed in these reviews, and so that will help to achieve the final goals. The another aspect is the change in project scope, and how do you approach to address. Now, when there is a change in project scope, we should be able to categorize those changes. There are certain changes which are just nice to have. Then there are certain changes, scope changes, which are, those are mandatory, needs to be done because they are part of the processes, and without that particular change, the process cannot go further, or we cannot proceed into that particular next activity. So those are the go live critical changes, or the changes which are required to run your process. So those needs to be prioritized. And then again, the next criteria would be what is the cost involved into that particular change, whether the availability of budget for the project, does that allowing me to make those changes? These are the all important factors. Those needs to be discussed in those implementation or support reviews. Okay, so that is why these reviews are very important, and those needs to be followed regularly, and there you have to make the entire project team, your side and from the partner side, very well aware of what is happening on the project, and what are the constraints are there, what the action items to resolve those constraints, issues or risk. That entire thing needs to be discussed. So next slide is on integration of SAP with other systems and seamless data flow. Now, as far as the project implementation is concerned, there is always the configuration and customization of the main processes and sub processes is important. But there are certain processes which are we we are not able to map into SAP. So we need to discuss and finalize how those processes will be taken care of, the data that is getting created during those processes. How can we, get that data into SAP and can be used further? That needs to be seen. There are certain systems, others non-SAP systems which are on the uh, around SAP you are using, and there has to be an integration between these systems and SAP. For example, there could be a travel management system where the people are raising the travel request and the expenses which are incurred on the particular travel request that needs to be brought back into SAP. Then there could be a, say, recruitment application, or for the classic example would be, integration with GST portal, and you need to do the GST reconciliation. There are invoicing, there are e-way bills. So these are the important integration aspects that needs to have. We need to have that with SAP. Then there should be effectiveness of data flow. The data flowing from SAP to these systems, and from those all those systems to back into SAP, that needs to be very effective. I mean, so that should happen seamlessly. There should not be loss of data that is happening during this particular process. The reliability of data synchronization is, there are certain situations where you need to maintain the data in, say, both systems, SAP and your non-SAP system. Then the data in both systems should be as same. I mean, what do you call it, as a exact replica. I mean, so your synchronization, our data flow that needs to be flowing from one system to other system should be as real time as possible. So that needs to be discussed. What should be the frequency at which the data is getting transferred? So that also needs to be discussed. So all these aspects will play a great role as far as your SAP system is, going towards that particular state where we can call SAP as the most successful system in your organization. Okay. Then there is a next key factor is the compliance and security. So there are multiple compliances you need to build. So as we talked about GST is one of the compliance. Then there are certain audits which many companies they have internal audits, they have external audits, there are statutory audits. So SAP should be able to support all these audits basically. So whatever data is required for these audits are available in the system. There are reports available to get that data out and to give that data to the auditors. That should be, I mean, possible always. Then there are security audits. Those are also carried out. So SAP has got very robust and comprehensive security model where you can assign certain roles or certain transactions to the user, and those transactions will be given to the users based on the role and responsibilities he is carrying out into SAP. There is a SAP GRC is a product there where SAP has given for especially only for this governance and risk control. I mean, basically the monitor the security. So, and then there is again a reporting that should happen on the basis of security incidents. How many times you come across a situation where user has access to the transaction which he is not supposed to have. Then there are audit results that needs to be monitored. What are the action items for those audit results? I mean, is there any change that needs to be done in SAP? So all those things needs to be tracked and monitored, and that if that tracking and monitoring becomes matured, I mean, we will say that the SAP implementation is a matured one and successful. Okay. The next aspect is the change management. The change management, as we discussed earlier, I mean, couple of slides back. So this is acceptance of new processes and technologies by the users. So, I mean, it's a entire change in the perspective or outlook when people start using SAP. So there is always some level of employee resistance that happens, and people take time to adopt a new any software. But in some cases, SAP people consider that as a very difficult to adopt. Having said that, I mean, what should be done to take care of this particular low adoption or resistance? That there should be a quality training that needs to happen, and that should happen on regular frequency, because there are new users coming in, new employees are joining the company. Then there are certain additional transactions the new changes are getting added into SAP, new custom transactions are built. So this training sessions should be continuous, and people should undergo these trainings on regular basis. There should be a refresher training for the regular users also. So user training is again an important aspect as far as the change management is concerned, and as a key contributing factor to the successful implementation, user training becomes a very important part of the whole implementation. The next slide is on system scalability. When do we call system or SAP scalable? Because when there is a changing business needs, or there is a growth that company is going through. For example, your company opens up a new manufacturing unit in somewhere in some other different location. So that needs to be configured into SAP as a new location. Okay. Then there are alignment with evolving business needs. Say, for example, there is a new product that has been introduced, or company is going for diversification. Then entire product, item master, bill of material, routings. There would be a number of changes that needs to be done in the system. There would be different processes altogether to be configured, and the system should be able to take care of those. Today, we can say that SAP is almost scalable in all these aspects, and can take care of all these growth and changing business needs. The another aspect is your system should be able to take care of the technology upgrades. Those are happening. Okay, certain business needs may not be catered by the versions which are available now. Then you need to probably move to a new version of SAP. Those kind of discussion happens, and then accordingly the project organization and along with top management, that decision needs to be taken. Okay, so I'm going to the next slide. That is my last slide for today's session. That is the conclusion and takeaway. Okay, so we last few slides we discussed various parameters, processes, and key performance indicators for the SAP project. So this needs to be monitored on a regular basis. So and critically assess the results and outcomes of the KPIs and other parameters and the processes. And you will find there are successes as well as there are certain areas of improvement. So what do we need to do? We need to do, you have to celebrate the success. You reward your stakeholders for their good contribution, and then identify scope for improvement. Basically, that is most important, and take the corrective actions. Okay, so this is as far as the good practices and what are the different factors which are both important from SAP implementation perspective. And I am at the end of the slide, and if you have any question, any observation you want to share, we can discuss that. Hello?
Hello.
Any question? So,
Are we?
1 minute, 1 minute. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, are we? Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, this is Bala here. No,
Yes, sir.
Pretty interesting. I joined in a little late, but yeah, I mean, I think this is a very, very useful module. And just wanting to understand, how can we sort of try and make it into a regular feature for our clients as part of our offering? I think that is something which we have to think through.
Yeah. So first of all, we have going to have the repeat session on this. Probably you can join, and we can go through the entire presentation. That is first part. Second part is uh, we have discussed this part, and what we are trying to do is the current clients we have, we are going to have. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we are going to have the regular reviews where the partner company, I mean here PTS and all our clients will have a review process on a regular basis where the, there is more visibility to the issues they are currently facing, and probably we can think about uh, the resolution part. That is one part. Second part, probably we can also do a kind of not extensive but small SAP audits, and see whether is there any help required to all our clients where SAP has been already implemented. Is that
Yes.
do you think?
Yes. I think that's definitely one way. One way. The idea is how can we reach out to our existing clients and ask them for a direct session. So what happens is one is online, but it has to be very specific to one client. So for example, if we are talking of let's say 120 clients, of which let's say about 25-30 of these clients today have been using SAP and facing a lot of issues in a different way. So on a one-on-one basis with the specific clients, like the way we normally pitch in for the discovery workshop. So something like that, we can create this like a 1 hour workshop, purely honorary basis.
Yes, I think that is a really good suggestion, Balaji.
One-on-one in the sense for one particular client, either for that client, then it can be online. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a better focus, and that client specific issues or problems can be discussed over there.
Right. I think let's
Yeah,
plan
completely
out something
agree.
like that. Even if we do with, let's say, 6, 7, 8, 10 clients, I think it will be a
Yeah.
good value add and result in an ongoing engagement.
Yes. Yes, Bala. Thanks. Any other question or observation from your side? Your current, if you are into support right now, whether you think that a particular area that needs to be looked upon. Anyone?
I all hello. I all as RB said, you have any concerns, questions? Please go ahead. We have our existing clients. So as sir said,
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Bala?
Yeah, we can hear you,
hello.
but nobody seems to be asking.
I hope I am audible. And the question, the basically what I was talking about, myself, Sachin. So as RB sir said, these are the things how we can do the selectivity of the SAP announcement, what additional we can do some ROI and all those. So I am requesting people who join.
Hello,
Can you hear me?
Sachin sir. Yeah,
Yes.
your voice is breaking actually.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was talking about this, the way right now RB sir said the system scalability, then the change management, then the ROI and the other stuffs. So as we have joined here, so our existing clients, if they have any concern, question, or how it will be done in existing system in detail. So please do connect with us, your consultant, and connect with us, connect with RB sir, where we will definitely would like to give you a more inputs and how we can take to SAP as an ERP system in your organization to the next level, where you will get maximum information on your management on their fingertip, including your compliances, including the change management, system scalability, anything, even if it is you have any kind of the fear factor where how it will be done and all those, please don't hesitate to connect us and ask the questions. I think people are not having a much questions. So what we can do is we will conclude the session right now. But yes, definitely whatever it is there, please do connect with us, our functional team, and us. Thank you. Or you
Sachin
Thank you
can
sir,
so much.
send the email also.
Sachin sir, Dhanashri.
Yes. Good evening,
How are you?
madam.
Good evening, sir. Very nice session, sir. Very nice initiative. Though I couldn't listen it with 100% of focus. हीना थी ना यहाँ पे तो थोड़ा काम कर रहे थे. But very nice initiative, sir. I like it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Please connect us if it is anything, ma'am. Thank you. And have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, RB. Thank you,
Thank you, Ravi
Sachin.
sir.
Yes, thank you, Sachin. Thank you, RB. I think
Thank you,
this
sir.
was a good session. We should continue having, this regularly with, as we mentioned, with individual clients also.
Yes, Bala. Thank you.